Hi guys, and welcome to today's task. For today's task, I have been setting can lights in the bedrooms. And I can do that because I'm here and on site, and I'm gonna be doing all the electrical. And typically, your electrician won't show up until more of the house is framed because it's not worth it for him to come and go. He wants to be here when he's ready to just make way. So since I am here at all times and the basement is fully framed, this guy himself is already pulling electrical wire. We've got outlets run, we've got can lights in, switches. I'm trying to get every room pulled to the extent where all I've got to do is bring home runs in. And a home run, if you don't know, a home run is the wire from the breaker box all the way to the first outlet where it's powering that series of outlets. But right now I am laying out this room's can lights. And I want to show you how I do can lights. I've been doing them a long time. I really enjoy doing new construction, mostly just because you can see everything. Remodel cans will actually lay out the same way. You just can't see what's up above your sheetrock, so it's a little harder to determine that, but the layout is the same, the math is similar. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So first things first, I will get a measurement of the width of the room, and I never do it in feet, I always do it in inches. This is 140, give or take an eighth, so 140 inches. So I take 140 and divide that by 3, because we're going to put in 3 lights this way. So we go to our calculator. 140 divided by 3 equals 46.6. Well, I'm not going to figure out the 0.6. You can, but it really doesn't matter. You don't have to be that close. But I know each of those cans will be 46 inches apart, but I can't start from the wall and go 46 inches into the next one, to the next one, to the next one. I have to divide that again by 2. 23.3. So I'm just going to go 23 inches. That probably seems a little confusing. Let me map it out on the floor for you. There are a couple ways to do this. This is how I do it. I take it, say my room is 1 foot, I divided it by 3, my answer is 4. Now I divide that answer by 2. So now I go 2, but then I come off this wall, 2, and then I can come off 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this brings, if this is a wall, this is a light, this is a light, and this is a light. I know some people might say, well, why not just divide it by 4? Because then you'll get 4 gaps. Let me show you. Take the same room, 12 inches, 12 inches. Now we divided it by 4. Then we get a mark every 3. And while that does work, we get 4 even spots. I feel like putting the lights here, splitting this difference, brings the light closer to these walls and gives better lighting there. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but this is the way I've always done it, and it's the way I'll do it. When I bought my first home, we had a set of can lights that were spaced like this, and the corners were always very dark. It just doesn't work very well, so you'll get big time shadows. So you want to come up here as tight to this as you can to get rid of those shadows on the wall. So this method, dividing it by 2 and then dividing that number by 2 is what you need. And so we know this is 23 inches. I know this is the 46 inches. This is 46 as well, and this is 23. And that's how I lay out can lights. Let's do it for real. I'm not saying all can lights have to be laid out this way, but I've done so many. I've done hundreds of can lights, and this is the method that I really like and get the best results out of. You'll definitely want a good ladder. They don't make this exact version of this ladder anymore, but I will link the most similar one to it. You don't need a full tool belt, but you need to be able to hold your hammer and your measuring tape as easy as possible, and with your belt seems to be the easiest. Need some suspenders for this thing. It always wants to pull my pants down. The type of can lights you're going to use, because this is new construction, is new construction can lights. And I like to go with a 6-inch can because most new LED lights, which is what we'll be putting in here, can fit a 6 or 5-inch can. I have put in 4-inch cans. They're very expensive, and I really was disappointed on the lighting when it was done. It's really good mood lighting, but it's terrible, like, I need light to work in this room lighting. And if you want that much lighting, then you have to put in a gazillion of them, and it just doesn't worth it. The 6-inch cans are kind of where it's at, I feel like. Just so you know, this doesn't have to be perfectly exact. You're gonna ballpark these things. You just want to make sure that your rows of cans line up with each other, whichever direction they're going. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it always will look like a row of 3 if you're looking at them, but that equals 8 cans in this room. You're probably thinking, well, Joel, you know your layout this way in the room. What about this way in the room? Well, let's do that real quick. That one is 124. So do our math again. 124 divided by 3 equals 41.3. Divide that by 2. Divide by 2 equals 20.66. So we can say 20.5, nearest number. It's good for me. So now what we have to do here is come off 20.5 this direction and 23 this direction, kind of like an XY chart. So let's map that out and show you. So our math says we got to come off 20.5 inches. Well, 20.5 puts me right here, and I know my can is 6 inches. So middle of that's 3 inches. That means my side of my can will be right here. So this truss is technically in our way, but we can't move it. So I just like to go the closest to it. 23. And I do mark it on the face of that, but I also like to mark the bottom because sometimes it's hard to see that. I want to show you what I'm talking about when I say line this up. This little groove, I line up with the pencil. We can go this way just a little bit, just like so. And if that's lined up, you're square. Oh, come on. Line it up. I know I want to be closest to this one. Lock that guy in. Now we're ready for the next one. One row done. What's cool is these little tabs, they have a flat spot that's meant to go underneath the stud or truss that you're connecting to. So you line that up with the bottom and then line this little mark up with the center, and it's pretty slick. Center. Push this to the side. It needs to be on this side. Grab your screwdriver. Lock it in. Now, this screw only holds it so tight. So, you know, don't get crazy on it, but it does hold it in place at least. for the most part. Oh, come on. Come on. Look at how I did the last one. Make sure that this box is always on the same side. Now, it really doesn't matter because these are centered in it, so either way it's going to be, but for wiring purposes, it's so much simpler to keep everything on the same side. But if you're super tight to something and you need this extra room, flip it around, set it as simply as you can. I'm telling you, this is the funnest part of building a house. Now for the middle two. Now the can lights are set, our math is over with, and now it's just wiring them. And the only thing you gotta think about is how do you wanna wire them? Do you wanna just make them all come on at once? Or you can do what I'm doing in the room, or you can do what I'm gonna do in some of these bedrooms is I'm gonna make the corners turn on one switch and the rest of them turn on another switch. So if you want full light, you turn on both switches. If you want kind of half light, a little bit less brightness, just turn on the one. I've seen it done in other rooms in the past. It's actually that way in my living room at home right now, and we really, really like it. The hard part is done, and now it's just easy wiring. So if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and until next time, we'll see you later. Your floor,